Welcome to the Monopoly YouTube channel, where we talk about life, love, and relationships. Thanks for joining us. So obviously it's just me today, Nate, right? So gonna try to answer some questions that Courtney gets regularly sent to her that are primarily focused on kind of how I deal with a relationship and other issues. And so just trying to basically answer those. And I'm going to use kind of a full video to do that because I think it's maybe a little easier than doing it in a short format. So just a little background. Again, I'm Nate and Courtney is my wife. And we're in a monogamous, me, polyamorous relationship, Courtney. So she's polyamorous. We opened up our relationship about 2.5 years ago, and I'll kind of explain a little more throughout the video. But we get quite a few questions that are primarily focused on things that I may deal with, whether it's jealousy or Courtney's dating or sort of even just why I stayed in the relationship. And so I'm going to try to answer some of those, or at least one question today, and kind of go from there. So the question I'm going to work on today is what do I do and how do I feel kind of when Courtney's on a date or an overnight? This is probably the second most question that we get asked for me to answer for the group. The first one probably being like, why are you even in the relationship still? Like, why are you still there? Why are you guys still married? And so I addressed that question in another video. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about what I do when Courtney's kind of on overnights and how I feel, how we kind of got through that initially and kind of how it goes now. So I would say that when we first opened up our relationship, Courtney's polyamorous. So she sort of, again, to us, that's sort of multiple loves or kind of like can love more than one person at a time. And we consider that kind of Courtney's almost orientation, right? So that's kind of who Courtney is. She was born like that. There's certainly some people that are in the non-monogamous or polyamorous style relationships that have developed that over time. But for Courtney, it's kind of just kind of who she is. And so, as part of that, dating is part of that, right? She has to meet a second partner or a secondary partner. And so she goes on dates, she does overnight, she does weekends, she travels, she goes on trips. And as always, my first concern, just as her husband, is just her safety, right? Is this a safe person to be with? Is she going to come back safely? Is it okay to get to wherever she's going? And so that's always in the background for me. Probably not as much a big concern because she tends to do dates first, right? She meets with them, does usually a coffee date or a walk date or something. So she already knows the person. She already kind of knows who they are, has an, kind of like, builds a rapport or relationship with them before she does sort of any overnights or weekends away or things like that. So that helps with the safety issue. But I would say the hardest part for me, at least initially, was sort of the feeling that I wasn't enough. And some of that was a little bit of jealousy, but some of it also, I would say a majority of it also, was that I felt like there was something that I wasn't doing, right? I was, not enough as a husband, not enough as a partner, not enough as a man, not enough as whatever. And so Courtney was trying to sort of seek that out. And that's as I was first learning about polyamory and non-monogamy. And so I thought that there was just something missing in our relationship. And then Courtney was seeking that out in someone else. I've since learned that that is not true, right? It's who she is. It's kind of who she's always been. But that was a huge concern for me at first. Probably over the first 6 to 12 months of our relationship, I really struggled with the idea that she was going to go, she was going to find another partner, and that partner would sort of be her everything, right? We've been sort of taught through, at least in a lot of Western cultures, that your partner can be or is your everything, right? They're going to meet all your needs, they're going to make you so happy. You would never want to look at or talk to anybody else in a relationship. And Courtney and I ascribe to the idea that that just is kind of like not true. It's kind of BS, right? So no other person probably can meet every single one of your needs, right? But I thought I had like huge gaps between, the needs of what Courtney had, and that some person was going to sort of swoop in and become that person for her, and that she just wouldn't come back home. She just wouldn't come home to me and the family and the kids because she found that second partner, that other partner that sort of met all of her needs, and she was so happy and fulfilled now, right? And a lot of that has been that anxiety, that feeling, that jealousy, that I wasn't enough has been sort of lessened over time just simply by Courtney coming home, right? So she comes home from dates, and when she does, she's usually more fulfilled, more happy. She comes back more happy to be in our relationship. And so over time, if you have a repetition of Courtney going away and then coming home and being happier to be home and so excited and fulfilled, it builds up your cup, right? For us, it builds up your cup. It builds up your stability in the relationship. Like I feel stable, I feel safe, I feel when she goes back, I know she's going to come home better and that we're better for it. Now, how did I get there? It took a lot of time. So like I said, the first 12 months, maybe a little longer. And that would just kind of repetition, right? So during that time, I was very anxious. I'd be kind of, like challenging to talk to. Maybe, she'd reach out to me via text or phone calls, which again is part of the safety thing we have. We check in regularly when she's away just to make sure everything's going okay. But I'd be kind of, just brush her off and not want to really talk to her much because I was jealous. I was concerned. And as time has gone on and I've had more experience where she comes home and again, she's happier and a better person, it really makes those times better, right? So what I do in the meantime, I tend to focus on the kids, the family, myself, whether that's, going to the gym, going for a walk, going to kids' things, events, taking them places, whatever else it is. I focus on them. I do movie nights, I do whatever. And so for me, it's more about being a better person, a better dad. I kind of work on myself during those times. And that has really helpful as well, right? So as I've gotten better, through therapy and counseling, Courtney's done her own therapy, we've done our therapy and counseling together. It just builds us up every single time she goes out and has a relationship, especially when she's in a kind of has her secondary partner or other partner, as we call it, and that's stable and good, then we're great, honestly. So that comes with experience and time and repetition, which you can't get without being willing to sort of let, in our case, sort of, I don't want to say let, that's the wrong word, Courtney going out and experiencing those things, right? To go out to dates, go out to, overnights, weekends away, whatever it is. And you just build up over time, sort of that, repetition that when she goes out, she's going to come home, right? That she's going to come home to us and the kids and she's going to be happy and fulfilled. And so that has just taken experience. That's probably, one of the big ones. Do I still struggle a little bit? Yes, I would say the thing that I actually struggle more with now is less the feeling that I'm enough and less the concern that she's not going to come home and more just kind of the little bit of jealousy that like she's out going to fun places and doing cool things, and we do that too. Don't get me wrong, but, just wanting to experience fun and newness and, enjoy that. I would say that's more my concern now than my worry that she's not going to come home or that she's going to meet that perfect person, right? And so that's my biggest issue now. So I would say at first it was a little bit of jealousy, just that, she was with somebody new, a lot of concerns that she was going to find that perfect person that was going to fulfill all her needs and she wouldn't need me and the family and the kids anymore, which has been, over time and repetition, that's gotten a lot better. And now it's more just kind of a little bit of jealousy towards doing fun, cool things. And that's just the life we live though, right? So it's not that we don't go out, it's not that we don't travel, it's not that we don't do fun things. It's just that I also want to be doing that, right? And that's, I think, a fairly normal human emotion to experience, whether that's your neighbor, your friends, your coworker, your partner, or whatever it may be. So again, I tend to try to work on myself during those times and see what I can do better, whether that's for myself, whether that's for the kids, whether that's for our relationship. And that's what I try to focus on. So is it still a tiny bit hard? Sure. Do I still support her when she goes and encourage her to go and to do these things because I know it makes her better and us better? Yes, I totally do. And sometimes it even takes me pushing a little bit for her to go on dates or do overnights because she's hesitant. She wants to be home and hang out with the family and the kids, but I need her to go and experience that and do that because whether it's the great date, a dinner date or an overnight date or whatever it is, a weekend away, regardless, it still makes her better. And if the dates aren't great, then I support her through it. And we work on trying to find her another partner. If they're with a partner that's great, then I encourage her and I celebrate her because again, I know it makes us better. And so again, people may say that's kind of crazy. I'm supporting my partner, my wife in dating someone else. But again, that's who she is. It's at her core. And when you make your partner better, your relationship gets better. I truly believe that. And so as Courtney gets better, we get better. And again, we work on ourselves, we work on our relationship. And then when she has that secondary partner or goes on dates or overnights, she's awesome. So time, repetition, trust has been built up over time with that. And so those are the big things. It just, took a while to get there. It was challenging at first. So don't, it's not, I'm not gonna say it was super easy from the beginning, but it's much easier now for me. And honestly, sometimes I think that it's easier for me sometimes than Courtney. because I'm like, hey, go do this fun, cool thing, like get away, do the things. And she struggles a little bit with that, right? We've talked about that in other videos where it's hard for her to have fun sometimes and to break away, but I know it makes her better and then we're better. So I'll wrap it up today for that video. So if you have any other questions, please let me know. I thank you for following the channel. I'll try to do a few more videos like this to answer some questions. So it's easier for Courtney to just go, hey, watch this video. Here's an answer to that question. If you have other ones, let us know. I'll try to get to answering some of those. So thank you for watching. If you could like and subscribe, we'd really enjoy it. Small channel, trying to grow, trying to encourage others, trying to empower those that may not fit into sort of a conventional relationship norm, which is there's a lot of people out there. And sometimes they just don't have the resources and how to do it and what to look for. So thank you again for watching. Everybody, have a great day. Oh, and as we always say, can't stop, won't stop. But it's just me. So once again, I'll just say thank you for watching, and I appreciate you guys being here.